Is it Big 12 championship or bust for Steve Sarkisian in Texas in 2023? If I'm reading between the lines there, or bust means, or is he getting fired? Is it Big 12 title or a bad season? Probably some blend of the two. And I think it is a reasonable question for a lot of reasons. One, it's the University of Texas and the brand and the standard and all that. We're going to get to that. But here's my answer. I don't believe that anything short of a Big 12 championship would be a down year. However, you're going into year 3 now, and I would say anything short of a Big 12 title appearance would be a bad year. Now, I don't think he gets fired. I'll say that right now. But that is now what you have led up to. Because you look at history and you look at, what you've done to this point. Look at Steve Sarkisian. You're saying it's year 3. Here's the trend. We went 5-7, went 8-5. This is the next step. Kansas State was 9-3, and they made the Big 12 title game. Heck, they won the Big 12 title game. That's the next step for us. And credit Steve Sarkisian and credit Texas. They were actually in that thing, didn't control their own destiny. They were in that thing till the last couple weeks of the season, till the last week of the season, really. Needed a little bit of help. So that's the first part. It's the next step. The second part of this is you have the roster. Yes, you lose Bijan Robinson. Yes, you lose Roschon Johnson. Yes, you lose some other key pieces, but you bring back 17 of 22 starters, most notably the quarterback, Quinn Ewers. And Quinn Ewers in his 2022 season, to me, I liken it a lot to sampling those foods outside in the food court at the mall. Like, he did just enough to keep you coming back. Like, you have one of those orange chicken on a toothpick, and it's phenomenal. It's like heaven in your mouth. It's a beautiful thing. And then you say, you know what, I want another one. And you have one, and it's great, but it's not a full meal. We saw some bad from Quinn Ewers this year, too. Against Oklahoma State, not great. Not great at all. Actually, very, very lackluster. Then you have the really good. The Alabama, the first quarter of Alabama, where we were all giving him the Heisman Trophy by the end of that thing, by the end of the first quarter, saying, if Quinn Ewers plays against Alabama, we might win that game if we're Texas. Then you have the second half of the bowl game. Another piece of orange chicken. Beautiful. Phenomenal. But now it's time for a full meal. Now it's time to put it all together. And the expectation for 2022 is, similar to Steve Sarkisian, you got the pieces around you. 17 starters back. 10 on offense. The only one you lost was Bijan Robinson. Now it's time to start to cash in on that. So those two things with the roster and with the just trajectory of what they've done at Texas, they're expecting at least, I believe at least, they need to make the Big 12 championship game. If you have not yet subscribed, love to have you at the party. We've had a ton of y'all Texas fans join us over the course of this last year. Even when we were doing this independent, y'all were loyal to the soil, so we appreciate that. If you also haven't followed me on the socials, on Twitter and Instagram, at JD Pickell, would love to have you there as well. Okay, it's a great medium for us to interact. Heck, we're doing this segment because one of y'all shot me a fire question on Twitter, and I was like, we want to answer that in Q&A, but even more, we want to do a segment on it. Okay, so feel free to hit me there, and the party rolls on, as it always does. So the second piece of this, why do they need to at least make the Big 12 title game? Why is this a conversation? It's because it's Texas. And some of you are rolling your eyes. Some of you just felt sick. Some of you felt your mouth get dry. Let me pump the brakes a little bit there. Because you heard the it's Texas thing and you get frustrated because you're like, yeah, it's Texas. You got a logo. So what? So what? Mac Brown's not here anymore. Vince Young's not going to the corner anymore to get into the pylon and win the national title. That's old. That's old. What have you done for me lately? Well, the reason why I say it's Texas, the reason why you're going to hear it's Texas from your friends that are Texas fans is because of this. When I say it's Texas, I'm not just talking about the logo. The logo's cool. Don't get it twisted. The logo is synonymous with college football. That's great. But even more so, it's Texas is resources. Texas puts a ton of money, whether it be facilities, whether it be coaching staff, whether it be recruiting efforts in terms of helping have competitive NIL packages and helping have the best official visits. I mean, there's so much put into it to a point where you're like, okay, now when do we get the output that the other guys are getting? Because those SEC programs down the road, We're going to join that conference pretty soon. They put a lot of money in too. The difference is they get some ROI. When do we get our ROI? You're telling us we got to care about our program. You're telling us we got to give to our program and put a lot into it. Now, when do we get something out of it? And that's fair. And quite frankly, they have been patient these past 2 years. Year 3, we want to see some ROI, want to see some wins, want to see something on the field to where we're saying, okay, that's why these resources are being put forth. That's why all of this is being put into the program, because of getting something out of it. Haven't gotten it yet, but year 3 needs to be the year. The second piece is they have averaged over the past several years since 2019 a top 10 recruiting class. Now notice, I didn't say they've been top 10 every single year. But the average ranking, according to the On3 team consensus recruiting rankings, is within the top 10. So you're saying, you're telling me, it's a talent acquisition sport. You're telling me I got to have the best talent to even have a chance. I got to have the ingredients to make a meal. Whoa, we're hitting the mic over here. Got to have the ingredients to make a meal. We got the best ingredients. We have at least competitive ingredients. Why are we not yet getting what we have worked for, what we have recruited for? Those are the pieces that make up It's Texas. Those are the pieces. I mean, if it were a group of 5 school, if it were a lower level Power 5 school, you'd say, that's great. 8 wins. We're going to keep working for it. We've put a good amount into this, but not as much as insert other schools here. Texas feels like they've put as much in as anybody else. So why are they not able to eat off the same platform as some of those other programs? That's the feeling. So when I say it's Texas, it's not the arrogance. It is they've put enough into it to now deserve something out of it. And like I said, they have been patient. Also, other teams are doing more with less. Baylor is a great example. I promise you, they do not have the resources in Waco, Texas, as they do at the University of Texas at Austin. In year 2, under Dave Aranda, got a Big 12 title. Kansas State, I promise you, not the same resources. Won a Big 12 title last year. Sonny Dykes, they didn't win the Big 12 title, but they played for a national championship. I don't care if they got body bagged. I don't care what the score was. They played for a national title. Do you understand what the good people in Austin, Texas would give to play for a national championship tomorrow? They would leverage a lot. I'll just leave it at that. They would leverage quite a bit. So now here's the real deal. Texas in 2023, it doesn't need to be the year. Because some of you were upset when I said, it doesn't have to be a Big 12 championship victory. 2023 does not need to be the Big 12 title year for Texas. It does need to be the appearance year. The reason why they don't need to win the Big 12 title in 2023 is because of the 2023 recruiting class. That has guys like Arch Manning. That has guys like Jonte Cook. It's a top 3 class at the time of us being live right now. They've got some dudes they want to keep on campus. And I'll just say this. If you fire Steve Sarkisian after the 2023 season, I would venture to say you gamble losing quite a bit of those guys that were in that class. Because recruiting, I understand NIL is a piece of it. I understand that situation's a piece of it. But at the very core of what recruiting is, it is a relationship-oriented game. People commit to people. You want to keep Arch Manning in Austin? You keep Steve Sarkisian in Austin. I think it's as simple as that. If you are excited about what Arch Manning will do for your program in the future, you got to keep Steve Sarkisian around. Because he committed to Texas, he committed to Steve Sarkisian even more so. The entire Manning camp. And it's bigger than just Arch Manning, but you have got a really good class right now. You keep them intact by keeping the guy that brought them there. You fire Steve Sarkisian, you gamble with whoever's in that class. And I understand they're signed. I'm cool with that. I get it. But I'm saying even when they're on campus, the transfer portal, it exists. Mobility, it's a thing. So does it need to be the year? I think it'd be foolish to fire Steve Sarkisian after not winning the Big 12 championship in year 3, but I think it does need to be a reality where he at least makes the Big 12 title, where Texas at least makes the Big 12 championship. The trajectory, the roster, the resources, it's all lining up for this to be a year where they pop, where they get to the Big 12 title, where they get to play for it in Jerry World. It's an exciting time to be a Longhorn fan. Expectations are sky high, as they always are. But this is the year where you're like, all right, show me something. I gave you a lot, now show me something.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.